यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावता वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम जय राम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। आफ्टर 13th Doha, Rama Gita. जब ते राम कीन्हतः बासा, सुखी भये मुनि बीती त्रासा। गिरिबन नदी ताल छवि छाये, दिन दिन प्रति अति होहि सुहाये। खग मृग वृंद अनंदित रहि, मधुप मधुर गुंजत छवि लहि। सोबन बरनि न सकहि राजा, जहाँ प्रगट रघुबीर बिराजा। एक बार प्रभु सुख आसीना, लक्ष्मण बचन कहे छलहीना। सुर नर मुनि सचराचर साई, मैं पूछऊँ निज प्रभु की नाई। मोहि समुझाए कहूँ सोई देवा, सब तजि करौ चरण रज सेवा। कहु ज्ञान विराग अरु माया, कहु सो भगति करहु जेहि दाया। ईश्वर जीव भेद प्रभु, सकल कहु समुझाए। जाते होई चरण रति, शोक मोह भ्रम जाए। थोरे ही मह सब कहु बुझाई, सुनहु तात मति मन चित लाई। मैं अरु मोर तोर तै माया, जेहि बस कीन्हे जीवन काया। गोचर जह लगी मन जाई, सो सब माया जानिउ भाई। तेहि कर भेद सुनहु तुम सो, विद्या पर अविद्या दो। एक दुष्ट अतिशय दुख रूपा, जाब सजीव पराभव कूपा। एक रचई जग गुण बस जाके, प्रभु प्रेरित नहीं निज बलता के। ज्ञान मान जह एक नाहि, देख ब्रह्म समान सब माहि। कहिय तात सो परम विरागी, तृण सम सिद्धि तीन गुण त्यागी। माया ईसन आप कहूँ, जान कहिय सो जीव। बंध मोक्ष प्रद सर्व पर, माया प्रेरक शिव। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। In Panchavati, Atmiya Samvada is going on between Bhagwan Rama, who is in the form of Guru, and Lakshmanji, who is Uttama Shishya. Atmiya Samvada means where there is no facade on the side of the listener and speaker. I mean, there is nothing that Shishya is hiding from the Guru, and nothing that Guru wants to hide from Shishya. And the beauty is, whatever is needed for Lakshmanji, Bhagwan Rama says, I will give it in such a way that you will get what you want. That is the beauty of Atmiya Samvada. Another example of Atmiya Samvada is Bhagwan Krishna and Arjuna. It is not that Arjuna is asking some question, Bhagwan is answering. Bhagwan says, no. You ask something, whatever you need to understand, everything I will tell. And from side of Arjuna, there is nothing that is hiding from Bhagwan. And from Bhagwan's side, he says, I will give you everything that you need. That is the beauty of Atmiya Samvada. Atmiya means where two minds meet in such a way, they become one. Samvada means Bhagwan is the giver and Lakshmanji is the recipient. Vada means both are givers. Samvada means one is giver, another is recipient. But in this case, the giver is the most exalted Bhagwan, recipient is most exalted Lakshmanji. So that's why we had seen the importance of Panchavati, 5 types of faith, and Lakshmanji's greatness also. Having gone to Bhagwan, he is asking few questions. And Bhagwan answers them one by one. His first question was, he asked in a different order, but the order in which Bhagwan answered is, first question is, what is Maya? Bhagwan gave a very practical answer, Main aru mora torate Maya. Whenever I get the feeling of possessiveness or the feeling of strong exclusion, I should know Maya Shakti is working on me. To the extent I can feel oneness, to the extent I can feel the presence of God, to that extent we are more in Bhagwan's side. One is Bhagwan's side, another is his Shakti. Main aru mora. I am this person and this is mine. Torate, you are different from me and that is yours. So we had seen functionally we need this, but when it becomes our identity, that is where it causes bondage. So we had seen example of airplane seat. We need to say this is mine, but internally we know this is not mine. If somebody is asking something to us, we will have to use this phrase, I. But transactional I and absolute I, there should be difference. Second thing Bhagwan did was, he classified this Maya into Avidya Maya and Vidya Maya. He said Avidya Maya is that which will cause conflicts in life. Misunderstanding about myself and misunderstanding about others. That is the role of Avidya Maya. And it's notional. That's why we gave the word Avadharanatmika. Avadharana means notions. So whenever a sadhaka looks within, many a times he finds ragadvesha sitting, some kind of klesha sitting inside. That is the expression of Avidya Maya. What is Vidya Maya? Bhagavan said Vidya Maya is power of the Lord. Creative power of the Lord. It is Trigunatmika, 3 gunas of Maya, which has brought about this creation, and by itself it is harmless. So Avidya Maya, you can call it as Jiva Srishti, and Vidya Maya is Ishvara Srishti. Avidya Maya has to be destroyed. Vidya Maya can be worshipped. This is the beauty of Avidya Maya and Vidya Maya. So Bhagavan made that distinction. Then he also said, Go go chara jaha lagi mana jai, so sab maya jaan ho bhai. Whatever becomes an object of experience, that falls under Maya. Whatever is drishya, that is Maya. Now Bhagavan answered the first question that our Lakshmanji had asked. What is knowledge? The order was changed. Third question was answered first. What is Maya? The next question Bhagavan took up was, what is knowledge? Here also Bhagavan gives precise definition. Jnana mana jah ekahu nahi. Knowledge is that where there is no mana. Jnana means knowledge. Mana means egolessness. So where there is egolessness, that is called as knowledge. So this also we analyzed. Ma means to measure. So mana means that holding on to which I measure myself. And if somebody measures me less than that, that is apamana. Somebody measures me more than that, that is sammana. So here it is amana. That is the first definition of knowledge. But then Bhagavan said, Ekahu nahi, jnana mana jaha ekahu nahi. Means, if we start removing conditionings one by one, the final conditioning we have to remove is of sattvic buddhi also. With the help of sattvic buddhi, person removes tamasic buddhi and rajasic buddhi. With the help of sadhaka ahankara, he removes badhaka ahankara. Badhaka ahankara means that ego which gives us pain, that ego which brings sorrow. Now keeping that sadhaka ahankara from absolute standpoint is still bondage. So what is the true definition of knowledge? Jnana mana jaha ekahu nahi. No conditionings are included in I. So Bhagavan says, try to say I minus world, minus body, minus mind, and minus this person. Whatever remains, that is knowledge. Very beautiful definition. Jnana mana jaha ekahu nahi. We are stressing on the word ekahu nahi. First definition was stressing on the word mana nahi. Mana nahi simply means egolessness. But second definition is little subtle. Even that sattvic ego which is there, from consciousness standpoint, it is still a bondage. Because it brings this notion, I am this person. That is the second definition of knowledge. Third definition, Bhagavan said, Deka Brahma Samana Sabha Mahi. Not only he understands his own true nature as consciousness, wherever he sees, he doesn't see it as world, he sees that as an expression of consciousness. Deka Brahma Samana Sabha Mahi. He sees this entire universe as appearing in Chaitanya. That is true expression of knowledge. This we were seeing in Mundaka class also. Ajnanam, Jnanam and Vijnanam. Knowing too many things, Ajnanam. Knowing that one truth to be real, everything else to be unreal, Jnanam. While seeing the world, remembering the truth, Vijnanam. While seeing the world, seeing the truth is Vijnanam, wisdom. Seeing the gold bar, Jnanam. When that gold becomes ornaments, different names and forms, while seeing ornaments, knowing that this is nothing but gold, that is Vijnanam. Otherwise, a person might be there, he is very familiar with gold bar. But the moment he sees ornaments, he starts searching for gold. Where did gold go? Because in his mind, gold should only be in that bar form. Same is the case of a sadhaka. He has studied a lot about Shuddha Chaitanya. Tattva Bodha memorized. How that Shuddha Chaitanya, Brahmashraya, Maya, Asti, Panchikaranam happens, whole creation comes from that same Chaitanya. But if somebody asks him, what do you see? He says, I see a tree, I see a mountain. Chaitanya is forgotten. So whenever we are able to see the truth while seeing the world, that is called as Vijnanam. That's what Bhagavan is saying here. Dekha Brahma Samana Sabha Mahi. In 18th chapter, Bhagavan calls this as Satvik Jnanam. Satvik Jnanam. Avibhaktam Vibhakteshu. In the midst of duality, in the midst of manyness, he is able to see the non-dual truth. That is called as Satvika Jnanam. Expression of this only we see in Ramayana and other places. Bhagwan Rama fought with Ravana. But at no point he had hatred towards Ravana. That is Satvik Jnanam. That behind the conditioning of Ravana, one who is there is the same divinity. That's why after Ravana falls in the war, Bhagwan asks Vibhishanji to do his final rites. He says, enemy is until he was alive. And even there we did not fight out of revenge. That is Satvik Jnanam, going beyond outer conditionings. Then Bhagwan took up second question, what is Vairagya? First he described what is Maya. Then he described what is knowledge. Third topic he took up was what is dispassion. Kahiya tataso parama viragi truna sama siddhi tini guna tyagi. That person is called as parama viragi, who is able to let go of all siddhis, just like a blade of grass. And the one who has transcended three gunas, that person is viragi. Now this word siddhi, when we hear, we feel, I don't have any siddhi. So I can easily give up this siddhi as truna, blade of grass. You know how we should understand this word siddhi? Any title which is given to the ego, that is called as siddhi. Any title or all titles which are given to ahankara, that is called as siddhi. So if somebody says you are a very good painter, that painting is that person's siddhi. You are a very good singer, very good dancer, very good cook. Any title which is given, all of that goes to ahankara. So what is siddhi here? That title which goes to the ego, that is called as siddhi. It might be very great in the eyes of the world. But as far as sadhaka is concerned, for him it is truna sama, like a blade of grass. If you notice all these words, painter, orator, collector, director, Swami Akhandanandji says we should get Vairagya from tar pratyaya. That tar that goes after it, it causes lot of bondage. Because they are the siddhis going with the ego. We saw one verse in Saddarshanam about siddhi. Ramana Maharshi says, Siddhasya vittihi sata eva siddhihi swapnopamana khalu siddhayonyaha. This is the real siddhi, is to abide in Sat. Self-abidance is the greatest siddhi. What about other siddhis? He said they are like dream. Because it only strengthens this notion, you are the ego. Swapna prabuddhasya katham nu satya. One who has woken up from dream, what siddhis of dream will he identify with? Satisthita kim punareti mayam. One who is abiding in the truth, one who has woken up to Sat, will he again go back to Maya? There is a beautiful story of Sangdevji Maharaj regarding siddhis. It is said he had gained Bhuta Siddhi. Bhuta Siddhi means he can control the elements. Pancha Mahabhuta he can control. 42 times he had pushed death away. 42 times, and he was 1400 years old because of his yogic power. And he got so much of attention, so much pride with that. And he came to know that there are 4 young kids in a nearby village. Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Sopan Dev, Nivruttinath, Muktabai. 4 young kids, and they are great saints. So he said, there is a person greater than me, and people are praising him all the time. Who is this person? So he wants to write a letter to Jnaneshwar Maharaj, and he comes to know that he is 16 years old. So he doesn't know how to address the letter. He first writes Pujya. Then he says, no, 16-year-old, I cannot say Pujya. Then he wants to write Dear. He says, no, looks like a great saint. So many people are praising him. So in this dilemma, he sends a blank letter. And it is said, Muktabai sees that blank letter coming from Sangdevji Maharaj. And she says, just like this letter, your mind is also blank. Because this siddhi has overpowered, clouded your thinking. And what is the truth? You are not seeing that. So Jnaneshwar Maharaj, in response to his blank letter, writes 65 verses. Very beautiful Advaita Vedanta verses, highlighting about nature of truth and the falsity of titles for the ego. That is popularly known as Sangdev Pasashti. 65 verses. Our mission has a commentary, Swami Purushothamananji's commentary. But it is said, when Sangdevji Maharaj comes, he wants to meet. When he reads that letter, 65 verses, and he comes riding on a tiger and holding a snake as the whip to show that he has controlled the tiger. And these 4 little kids are sitting on the wall of their house. And Jnaneshwar Maharaj feels such a great yogi has come. We are to welcome him by going closer to him. And he makes that entire wall move. So even today, if you go to Alandi, there is a wall which is worshipped. It is the same wall, they say, on which Jnaneshwar Maharaj showed this siddhi. So then Sangdevji, he becomes a great devotee. And his guru, Jnaneshwar Maharaj, says, you have to learn from my sister, Muktabai. So whatever Abhang he has written, it has Muktabai's name in it. But the whole prasanga is to show titles for the ego are futile. Whenever we start feeling that, That is the true sense of Vairagya. Siddhi, don't only take it as some magical power, any title for the ego. Tara pratyaya is the Siddhi. Now Bhagwan comes to the last question, or second last question. What is meant by Ishvara, Jiva, and what is the difference between Jiva and Ishvara? Ishvara Jiva Bheda Prabhu, Sakala Kahon Samujhai. Please explain to me in detail what is the difference between Ishvara and Jiva. Now there are some simple differences. Puja Guruji mentions this point in several places. He has brought this up. He says some basic differences are Jiva's uniqueness is he can easily get into problem. At the drop of the hat, he can get into problems. But his power to solve those problems are limited. And Bhagwan's uniqueness is his power is unlimited, but he doesn't have problems. Bhagwan's beauty is that. You must have seen in any avatara katha, either Rama avatara, Krishna avatara, you will never feel Bhagwan helpless. And whenever he looks helpless, we should not make the mistake of thinking that he is actually helpless. Satiji made this mistake. She sees Bhagwan crying and she feels, how come he is so helpless? Bhagwan says, don't worry, this is part of my Leela. So infinite power. And Jiva has limited power. Second one is, Jiva has many desires, but limited power to fulfill those desires. Jiva. And Ishvara, on the other hand, infinite power and no desires. Bhagwan doesn't do anything pushed by desires like in the case of a Jiva. That is his uniqueness. And last one, Guruji says, Jiva gets and forgets, God gives and forgives. This is one very simple difference between Jiva and Ishvara. And see, Bhagwan's way of giving is such, he will give it in a way that we will feel, I got it because of my own hard work. We should sit down and analyze whatever good things we have received in life. His way of giving is that, silent giver. Now in Viveka Chudamani, few more differences are pointed out. Between whom? Jiva and Ishvara. Some examples are given. The student goes to the teacher and teacher has already told him Mahavakya, you are one with God. He says, how can I be one with God? There are so many differences. One difference he says is Khadyota Bhanvoho. He says, I am a glowworm, Bhagwan is like the sun. Khadyota Bhanvoho. So in strength, my strength is like that of a glowworm. In terms of knowledge, my knowledge is like a glowworm. And Bhagwan is like the sun. Bhagwan's knowledge is infinite, all-knowing. Second example is given, Raja Bhrutyoho. Like servant and a king. So the student says, I am like a servant and Bhagwan is like a king. Because he is karma phala data and I am the one who is doing different karmas. I am the recipient of results. I can do certain things, but result is not there in my hands. The result is in Bhagwan's hand, so he is like a king. I am like a ordinary servant. Third thing he says, Kupambo Rashyoho. I am like the well and Bhagwan is like the ocean. I am like the well, Bhagwan is like the ocean. Means in different matters, this is how he feels with God. And last one he says, Paramanu Mervoho. I am like an atom, and Bhagwan is like a Mount Meru. So where is the oneness between both? But the point here is not to discuss oneness. Point here is to discuss the difference in conditionings of Jiva and Ishvara. From conditioning standpoint, the blessing we have is of devotion. When we become aware of this conditioning and Bhagwan's conditioning, the natural expression of this knowledge should be surrender to God. If I have limited power, limited knowledge, limited strength, plenty of desires, one who has all power, all knowledge, all strength, and no desire, if we both can come together, nothing like it. In Kenopanishad, where we see Ishvara Siddhi Prakaranam, around 7 to 8 differences are pointed out between Jiva and Ishvara. Just at the concluding part of Ishvara Siddhi Prakaranam. But main thing to note here is, Jiva is the worshipper, Ishvara, Bhagwan is worshipped. How do they show their nature? Now you see the 15th Doha. Maya isan aapu kahu, jana kahiye so jiva. The insignia of a jiva is ignorance. What all things is he ignorant about? Maya. Maya means bondage. He doesn't really know what is bondage. Isa doesn't know Bhagwan's power, doesn't know Bhagwan's essential nature. Third nature of Jiva is he doesn't know himself. Maya, Isa, Apu. Doesn't know Maya, doesn't know God, doesn't know himself. Did you notice something interesting here? How is a Jiva defined? The one who doesn't know these three things, Maya, Ishvara, and oneself, is Jiva. What does it mean? Jivatva is because of ignorance. Jiva title Goswamiji is not giving permanently. If you know what is Maya, negate it. If you know Bhagavan, and if you know yourself, title of Jiva is not given. The one who is ignorant about these three things gets the title of Jiva. So if somebody asks, for how long will I remain a Jiva? Our scriptures and teachers, they say, as long as you want, so long as you want. Know the essential nature of these three things, title of Jiva, samsari, will be taken away. And who is Bhagavan? Bandha moksha prada sarvapara. If you pause after bandha, then you'll have to explain it differently. Bandha moksha prada means what? One who gives bondage and one who gives liberation. How will you explain that? Easier way is one who gives liberation from bondage. Bandha moksha prada, one who gives moksha from bandha. First indicator. Second indicator, sarvapara, one who is above all. Even beyond the rules of karma. Rules of karma are for Jiva, not for Ishvara. If he wants, he can do something, he can do it differently, or he can do opposite of it. That is the meaning of Sarvapara. Maya Preraka Siva. One who is the prompter of Maya, that pure consciousness is Ishvara. 3 indicators are given. Okay. Bandha Mocha Prada Sarvapara, Maya Preraka Siva. Now Bhagwan saves the best topic for the last. Which question is remaining now? What is that devotion which melts your heart? That is in the 16th Doha. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. धर्मते बिरति जोगते ज्ञाना, ज्ञान मोक्ष प्रद वेद बखाना, जाते बेगी द्रवौ मैं भाई, सो मम भगति भगत सुखदाई, सो सुतंत्र अवलंबन आना, तेहि आधीन ज्ञान विज्ञान, भगति तात अनुपम सुख मूला, मिलई जो संत होई अनुकूला, भगति की साधन कहूँ बखानी, सुगम पंथ मोहि पावहि प्राणी, प्रथम ही विप्र चरण अति प्रीति, निज निज कर्म निरत श्रुति रीति, एहि कर फल पुनि विषय विरागा, तब मम धर्म उपज अनुराग, श्रवणादिक नव भगति दृढ़ाई, मम लीलारति अति मन माहि, संत चरण पंकज अति प्रेमा, मन क्रम बचन भजन दृढ़ नेमा, गुरु पितु मातु बंधु पति देवा, सब मोहि कह जाने दृढ़ सेवा, मम गुण गावत पुलक शरीरा, गद गद गिरा नयन बहनीरा, काम आदि मद दंभन जाके, तात निरंतर बस मैं ताके, बचन कर्म मन मोरि गति, भजनु करहि निष्काम, तिनके हृदय कमल महु, करहु सदा विश्राम, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Bhagwan Rama is a very good teacher. What he explained in so many dohas, he is able to summarize in one line. So next line is actually summary of what is Maya, what is knowledge, what is Vairagya, what is Jiva Ishvara. He says the whole sum and substratum of this is Dharmate Birati Jogate Jnana. By doing our duties well, by doing every action with a sense of duty, that will give us Vairagya. Dharma te birati. Litmus test of whether I am doing my duty well or not, Goswamiji says, is detachment. Am I doing karma yoga? This Chaupai says we should ask ourselves, how much has our Vairagya increased? Dharma is the cause, Vairagya is the effect. What is Vairagya? Truna Samasiddhi, Tini Guna Tyagi. Whatever titles are coming to ego, he wants to give it up. Dharmate birati jogate jnana. And through this pure mind endowed with Vairagya, when we study Vedanta, what comes to that sadhaka is knowledge. Jnana mana jaha ekaho nahi. That is jnana. Dharmate birati jogate jnana. Jnana moksha prada beda bakhana. This knowledge alone will take us to liberation. This is what all Shastras are saying. And the one who is going to bring this moksha in our life is Bhagavan. How was Bhagavan described? Bandha moksha prada sarvapara, maya preraka siva. See how beautifully in one line Goswamiji captures this entire topic. Dharmate birati, jogate jnana, jnana moksha prada, beda bakhana. One commentator very nicely brings out this chaupai, Dharmate birati jogate jnana. He says, whatever activity cannot be linked with our spiritual life, whatever action that cannot be linked with our spiritual life cannot be called as duty. Whatever action which cannot be made spiritual cannot be called duty. Means what? Whatever duties we have, if it is the right duty, it can definitely be made spiritual. Means if you look at it in Vedanta Sara language, 6 types of karmas are there. Nitya karma, Naimittika karma. One of the karma is Kamya karma, Nishiddha karma. What is Nishiddha karma? Forbidden actions. Kamya karma, it is not forbidden, but one ends up doing because of desires. So that action, because it cannot be connected with spiritual life, is not called duty. Kamya karma. Nishiddha karma, of course, is not duty. But whatever Bhagavan has given us as our daily duty, Nitya karma, Naimittika karma, it can always be connected to spiritual life. Doing that, we can grow wherever Bhagavan has placed us. Another point he says, the thought of duty should be there behind every action. Dharmate birati jogate jnana, right? Even if somebody is helping somebody else, the thought should be, I am grateful that this is my duty to give the help. This is Shastriya perspective of helping others. And very nicely he says, first save yourself before saving the world. If I go with this mindset that I will help others, in and through that good help, I will be left with a mighty ahankara. So how will dharmate birati come in every action, including good actions? The thought should be, this is my duty to do it. Dharmate birati jogate jnana. Now Bhagavan is defining bhakti. Next line he says, Jate begi dravo mein bhai, so mama bhagati bhagata sukhadai. Bhagavan's definitions are very forgiving. You see, what is the definition? What is bhakti? Bhakti is that which pleases me. Jate begi dravo mein bhai, so mama bhagati bhagata sukhadai. Very interesting definition. He doesn't tell any ritual particularly, nor does it tell any action, nor does it tell any chant. He says, no. Whatever pleases me, that I call as bhakti. At thought level, at speech level, and action level, if all three of them please the Lord, that particular thought, that particular speech, that particular action is called as bhakti. Few good examples we find in Ramayana itself. One example is of the squirrel. When they're building the bridge, that squirrel sees all monkeys doing such great work. Huge boulders they are lifting. It says, let them do what they are doing. I will do what I can do. Goes to the shore, little bit of, first goes in the water, then rolls on the sand, brings to the bridge and shakes it off. Only that much. And that was sufficient to bring Bhagwan's attention to this squirrel. That is the beauty of devotion. It is not in a particular action. Whatever is done with a pure heart to please the Lord, that particular devotion pleases Bhagwan the most. That particular action, Bhagwan calls it as devotion. Another very nice example is, the fruit seller's Leela in Bhagwan Krishna. Little Krishna comes out and the fruit seller gives Bhagwan some pomegranates, seeds. Nicely she takes it out and gives. And Bhagwan, by the time he went inside, everything falls off. And her heart is filled with love. Without asking for anything else, she gives more fruits. And the story goes, when she looks behind, her whole basket is filled with gold. And this is not a side story. This is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. One of the Leelas of Bhagwan Krishna is this. He says, if you thought of me, to think about your well-being is my responsibility. That is this line, Jate begi drau me bhai, so mama bhagati bhagata sukhadai. Duryodhana had elaborate spread. And Sulabhaji gave him, who is Sulabha? Vidurji's wife. Skin of banana, not even the banana fruit. She was so much in love with Bhagwan and overexcited with his presence that she was taking the banana, eating herself and giving him the peel. Bhagwan calls that as devotion, not Duryodhana. Because it fits this. Jate begi drau me bhai, so mama bhagati bhagata sukhadai. What is the sadhana here? Behind every thought, every speech, and every action, one antaranga sadhana is to ask Bhagwan, are you happy with me? It is more effective if you ask this question before that thought, before it becomes Vaikhari Vani. Vaikhari Vani means manifest speech. Before saying something, if you can just ask Bhagwan, Bhagwan, I'm going to say this. Will you be pleased with me? And we should not say or feel that no guidance comes. It's a matter of purifying our mind and actually explicitly asking Bhagwan this. Especially if some thought of anger comes. There is no harm in getting angry. Only request in Bhakti Marga is take Bhagwan's permission before getting angry. You should have his anumati. You should have his nod. Somewhere we had seen this point, right? Vidyamana and Vartamana Ishvara. Vidyamana Ishvara is we have faith, God exists. But we don't bother to ask him anything. Vartamana Ishvara is God interferes in our choices. If sadhaka is about to do something wrong, because he has asked Bhagwan, he'll be stopped. If he doesn't ask, Puja Gurudev says Bhagwan is a very decent person. He doesn't interfere with our life. And then I should not blame God. Bhagwan, why didn't you stop me? He says, if you ask, I will stop. And his instant signature of happiness, instant signature of being pleased, his mind is happy, mind is peaceful. Drushtaphala it is. Right at that time, he will give the result. He will not say, later on I will tell you if I am happy or not. Right then and there. That is this bhakti. Now Bhagwan is elaborating what is the greatness of bhakti. What was the previous topic? He said, what is the definition of bhakti? Very simple definition. Whatever pleases the Lord is devotion. Now he is telling what is the greatness. So sutantra avalambana ana. Tehi adhina jnana vijnana. A very interesting, greatness. He says bhakti is independent in giving result. But knowledge and wisdom, jnana and vijnana, are dependent upon bhakti to give result. Means what? If a person is living a God-centered life, person asks Bhagwan before doing things, tries to purify his mind, works on his impurities, that itself will give the result of joy and peace. But on the other hand, if somebody studies lot of Vedanta, but mind is impure, until he takes care of his bothering mind, he might say 100 times, I am not the mind. Or mind is unreal. Unreal mind gives real sorrow. That is why knowledge and vijnana, jnana and vijnana, they are dependent upon bhakti. Bhagati tata anupama sukhamula. Bhagwan says this devotion is the source of unexcelled joy. Anupama sukhamula. Milai jo santa hoi anukula. This journey becomes easy if we get the teachings of a saint in our life. See, if there is a path that we have never been before, if somebody has been on that path and they are telling us, this is what you will find here. From there, turn right, turn left. What it makes sure is, it gives us conviction that we are on the right path. Ramacharitmanas itself is a great example. Think about bhakti without Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramacharitmanas. Let's say if we didn't have these two texts, what would be our understanding of devotion? Milai jo santa hoi anukula. If you find a saint, our journey becomes easy. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is writing how to crave for God, how to seek God. If you have some benchmark, then we can say, okay, they are on a scale of 0 to 10, they are at 10. Let me at least start at 1. And we will know that we are on the right path. That is the beauty of this. Now, what are the essentials in bhakti? Different points which are essential in bhakti. That is given. Bhagati ki sadhana kahau bakhani. Now I will explain what are the different facets, essentials in bhakti. Sugama panta mohi pavahi prani. Bhagavan says this path of devotion is very sugama, very easy. You can comfortably reach me without too much of struggle. The moment you open Vedanta book, they will say sadhana chatushthay sampanna, viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shat sampatti, mumukshutvam. And that too, expectation is very high. Vedanta is like allopathy, bitter medicines. Bhakti is homeopathy, sweet medicines, but it works. You might wonder how it works, but you take it, it works. So Bhagavan is going to tell what are the different essentials in bhakti. Let us see just the first one. He says, Pratamahi Bipra Charana Ati Priti. First thing in bhakti is one should start loving spiritual life. Bipra Charana means that the person who embodies spirituality, having reverence for that person means having reverence for what they stand. In Viveka Chudamani also, 8 steps of spiritual evolution, one of them is Viprata. What is Viprata? Person who has sattvic choices in all aspects of life. One who has simplicity and sattvic choices. This sadhaka feels, I should also be like this. Why am I complicating my life so much? What is goal of life? Regarding several aspects, regarding different choices, he has love for spiritual life. Bhagavan says that is the first step. Other essentials we will see later. Aganita Gunagana Bhushana Rama Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama Dashamukha Mardana Jaya Jaya Rama Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama Papa Vimochana Shri Rama Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama Jaya Raghu Rama Jaya Sita Rama Vanara Sevita Shri Rama Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama Patita Pavana Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Syavara Ramachandra ki jai Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai Hari Om.